Welcome to the first episode of WTF Tuesdays. If you don't know what that is, it is wealth, taxes, and finance. So why don't we just get right into it? Tonight, I am going to talk about just the tip. If you don't know what I'm referring to, I am referring to the deduction that is included in the big, beautiful bill that was passed for 2025 through 2028 under IRC Section Code 224. And it is no tip on tax. I'm dyslexic. No tax on tips. Yes, no tax on tip. Hence, just the tip. Let's get right into it. If you work in an industry such as you're a bartender or a wait staff or an influencer, some industry, hairdresser, that you typically receive tips from your customers, the IRS has passed this bill that now you have the ability to deduct up to $25,000 if they are qualified voluntary tips. So let me go ahead and make my disclaimer. Listen, I don't know your tax situation. I don't see your stuff. This is in general. I'm giving you the rule. I'm going to give you some basic examples to help you understand how it works. At no time should you think, oh, Sherry said, I can do this. I don't know you. I don't know your taxes. If you have questions, a tax professional to get advice for your particular situation. I'm giving a general overview. And the key in here is voluntary. This tip has to be qualified. And in order to be qualified, it has to be voluntary. It cannot be negotiated. It cannot be like an automatic 20% gratuity that a restaurant puts on a large group that you receive. It cannot be a tip that's automatically negotiated within a contract if you're a DJ or something like that. Those do not count. You have to pay full federal taxes on those tips. The person has to choose what they're going to give you because they want to give it to you. Tips on illegal activity. If you were doing porn and somebody gave you a tip or prostitution or any of that stuff, listen, full tax. So just be careful. Make sure you understand what the tips are. Read the rules. If you've got something weird and it's not cash of some sort, it might not be included in the deduction. As you know, all income should be claimed. All. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about all these influencers and gamers. And we all know you guys get tips, right? So let's take a look at some examples. So let's say you work in an industry that you get tips and maybe you earned wages of about $18,000 and maybe you got tips of about $22,000. That gives you total income of $40,000. So let's say that you have qualified tips. They qualify under the IRS rule. That means the $22,000 in tips that you got are now a deduction. Keep in mind, I did not say exclusion. They are not excluded. You still have to claim them in your income, but then you get to take a deduction. That's the difference between an exclusion and a deduction. This is not excluded. You still have to include those tips in your income. You have to show it as income, and then you show the deduction of the $22,000. So that means your taxable income for that year, of course, this is just basic, right? Basic example, is only $18,000. So you're only going to be taxed on the $18,000. Your estimated federal only tax savings is roughly, if you fall in about a 12% tax bracket, about $2,640. Not too shabby, right? So with these examples, depending on how much income you earn and how much tips you get and how much you get to deduct, will determine how much you have in federal tax savings. Keep in mind, I'm only talking about federal. So if you're an influencer and you have sponsorships, and let's say you earn like $60,000 that year, and you have tips of $25,000, now you have total income of $85,000, right, up to the $25,000. Therefore, your taxable income is only the $60,000. You could possibly save, if you fall into that 21% tax rate, you could possibly save $5,000 plus $5,500 on being able to deduct those $25,000 in tips. Now, there is a phase out. So if somebody out there and you're making over $200,000 a year, and you have $25,000 in tips or $50,000 in tips, I hate to tell you, you make too much money. It's going to phase out, and therefore you're going to have to pay federal taxes on all of those tips just because, hello, you make too much money. Sorry. That's my tax tip for today on WTF Tuesdays, Wealth, Tax, and Finances. Next week, hiring your children or no tax on overtime. If you have an opinion on what you want me to talk about next week, I don't know. What is our next tax tip? I don't know. We'll figure it out. This week it was just the tip.